hesitation on your part in calling up Jason Martin just based on the, whatever it is, 50 games of AAA experience?
Yeah, in a perfect world, we like guys to have more time before we ask them to compete at the major league level. We felt Jason's maturity, his intelligence, his skill set played despite having limited time down there.
Do you see him playing a regular role while he's up here? I guess mixing and matching while the injuries are.
Yeah, I mean, as Clint's going to do with most of the lineup, it'll be a mix and match, and Gong and Moran and Gonzalez and Newman and around the infield, around the outfield, and Clint will mix and match as he feels best suited for that night.
It's been a pretty big challenge with 3 regular outfielders out for a while, right?
Yeah, and next Pirate up, and it's fun to watch Jason step in yesterday, get a base hit, steal a base, score a first run, and get us up on a good track. And we're going to need to continue to pitch well. We're going to need to figure out how to score runs. We're going to need to continue to be aggressive on the bases and capitalize when there's some additional bases to be taken, and be smart about it, and figure out a way to get more guys on base, get more guys touching home plate.
Forgive me for probably just coming off maybe a little bit of softball, but how do you overall feel about the starting rotation going through so far?
Yeah, 7 games. It's been a great 7-game run, and they've made pitches, stayed out of the middle of the plate. They've sequenced well. They've attacked weaknesses well, and obviously the results have been really strong. Looking forward to supporting it with improving defense and find a way to score more runs and find a way to get this bullpen, the back end, to lock down games that they've done such a great job the last handful of years, but especially last year.
You've got 20 days with Gregory down. Do you have a feeling at this point if you're going to need the full 20 days, or does the opportunity for a DH in Detroit factor into the decision?
Just speaking generically, with both Diaz and Polanco, where neither really had spring training, there's a modified spring training that goes with it. So we do anticipate taking much of the 20 days. They can change our minds if they show that they're ready quicker, but there's a pretty good script in place that will adjust depending upon how they feel physically. But there is a build-up period that needs to take place, and we would anticipate needing much of the 20 days with both of those guys.
So for both, this is still part of that spring training program, basically?
Yeah, a modified spring training program. Okay.
With Gregory, I mean, even at 20 days, he's kind of on the forward edge of that healing time that was originally announced. What sort of led to him coming in at that early part of the time frame?
The easy thing is his work, and our PT's work with him, and he's done everything that we've asked and then some. He's put in just a ton of work, and then no setbacks. So you'd like to say that they go hand in hand, that his work caused no setbacks to date. We'll knock on wood with that. But the back end has always been a result of setbacks. The front end was the best case scenario, and to date, we're looking that right in the face right now.
How big of a loss is it to not have Crick in there?
It's just another back-end arm for Clint to be able to go to, and to give him a different option for the 7th or the 8th or even the 9th. And when you've got 4 guys back there that your manager feels confident and comfortable, can hold a lead, it's just another option. Birdie and Liriano stepped up big yesterday, and we're going to need other guys to continue to step up as we battle the large number of guys we have on the IL right now.
You seem pretty optimistic about the idea of it being 10 days or close to it. I know most players are generally optimistic about injuries, but is that your sense as well?
Yeah, we were probably pretty aggressive with placing him on the IL because of the tightness, but wanted to knock it out and get him as healthy as he's going to be. Nobody's 100% in the big leagues at any point during the season. It's just not physically possible. There's always something, but this one we felt like we'll give him the 10 days down and see where we are. To give him a handful of days without throwing, and then get him a bullpen and see how he feels from there. And if it's a few days longer or longer, whatever it takes, we'll get him back out there. But we want to get him back out there as best we can.
And if you can put on your pitching coach hat for a minute, the Crick slider spin, as you know, is like elite. Like, what have you known about him over the years about his slider?
Yeah, our scouts did a really nice job of identifying the mid to upper 90s velocity that he's shown in the past, the power to the breaking ball. Our analysts did a nice job of identifying the spin rates and recognizing that guy that when he throws strikes, and had some troubles. His minor league career throwing strikes, and the transition to the bullpen had helped him be able to just come in and hammer the zone early. But man, that's a wipeout pitch right on right, and he's got such action with it that it gives left-handers a tough time as well. But nice job by our scouts and analysts identifying him, and we went and got him as part of a pretty significant trade.
Yeah, one follow-up on that. When you talk to your analysts and on the pitching side, how important is the actual spin rate as opposed to the rest of the profile of how the pitch moves in velocity?
It's all important. It's one thing to have a dominant spin rate. It's another thing to not be able to land it for a strike or to have it have a trackable path. So there's also deception in it. So it is an important part of the process, but it's not the only component as we evaluate and value a pitch.
Neal, I'm not sure you guys expected to use Melky Cabrera maybe this much when you signed him, given this Chisenhall move. How happy have you been with what you've seen from him being pretty much a regular day guy for you now?
Yeah, we signed him because he was a switch hitter that was good against left and right, and felt like that veteran presence off the bench would be very valuable, and it's been very valuable, and it's almost regular role so far. He's got some big hits for us. He's made the plays defensively, and he's been a really nice addition to the club, both on and off the field.
Coming into the season, you call Jung Ho a wild card coming in. I mean, has he exceeded your expectations? If so, how much?
Well, defensively, the work he did physically to get himself in as good a shape as he's been in really since we've known him as a Pirate, enhanced his defense. We knew he could play third base, but he's probably as good, if not better, than he's been at any point defensively. The power is still there. He's still catching up to Major League pitching and the speed of the game, and but the power's there, the defense is there, and he's been a nice shot in the arm so far.
What have you noticed about Francisco Cervelli's physical condition? I think you've seen him score from first a couple of times, once on a single.
Yeah, actually, I saw him in our sports nutrition center today and told him I can't believe there are very many catchers that score from first base on that ball, and he had not many 33-year-olds either. And it's a testament to him and how hard he's worked and the athleticism that he's maintained through his work, and it's great to see him running out of gas a little bit, but I think most 33-year-olds wouldn't have gotten to third base. So he's a fun player to watch play. He just plays with such emotion and enthusiasm, and he's such an important part of our team.
Neal, you said in the spring training that Kevin beefed up a little bit weight-wise. Kind of saw the results yesterday. Just how do you assess just what place he's in right now, and what do days like yesterday do for his psyche a little bit?
Kevin got back to being Kevin Newman again, and the guy that we saw in September for maybe the 1000th time that we've talked in my time here. Spring and September are the worst times to evaluate players, and yet we get it. We see them, and we have recency bias. Then we have confirmation bias as they begin to show us what we think they can or can't do. And in Kevin Newman's case, he physically got back to being Kevin Newman again. It wasn't as much putting weight on, it was putting weight back on that he lost over the course of the season last year. It was a longer season and maybe a more stressful season for him. But that's the guy that we have seen in the past, and it was fun to see that player show up in spring training and then obviously win a game for us yesterday.
How have you felt about the flexibility of this roster in general? You know, you talk about Newman and Melky, but also Colin Moran playing left field. How do you feel about the flexibility you have?
Yeah, as you're trying to put a club together with your manager, you want to give him guys that can do multiple things to help him win games, and this lineup has the ability to do that. It also has the ability to keep each other fresh and sharp. Because so many guys can play different positions and play them well, and there's not a drop-off when we go from starter to the next level, and that's going to be important for us to continue to do that, especially as you factor in how deep we've had to dig already because of the injuries.
Now, you have gotten pretty dominant starting pitching so far, and I think that's one of the reasons you've been in every game you've played so far. Do you feel like that is, obviously every position group is important, but do you feel like having that starting pitching does allow for maybe like more leeway than maybe a team that has only offense or only a defense or only a bullpen, just because you'll get chances to win games that you might not otherwise have been in because of that starting pitching?
Yeah, I mean, the easy answer is every part of your team is important. You need to be able to pitch the early part of the game, the middle part of the game, the late part of the game. You've got to be able to catch the ball. You've got to be able to run the bases and score runs. But when you have one of those areas that's dominant, probably the starting pitching is the one that allows you to stay in as many games as possible. If your starters are putting you in a position to win on a nightly basis, if you can't pitch at the start of the game, it has a chance to be a tough season.
You talk about Newman getting back to where he is, but a guy like Josh Bell's small sample size now, is he exceeding those expectations, maybe?
Well, what we saw from Josh his rookie season, what we saw from Josh, again, he's not the first nor is he the last player to go through struggles in his second full season. The league makes adjustments and players have to adjust back, and sometimes it takes those young players in that second full season a bit longer than you like. Despite all the work that they put in, despite his intelligence, despite the amazing work that he put in, he made those adjustments and was a legitimate major league power threat and good hitter in September of last year. And he might not just be a spring training player, but it's good to see him drive the ball. It's good to see him taking quality at bats and finding a way to drive in runs.
All right, cool.